This installment of Exploring Rhetorical Devices on the Killer Public Speaking channel is brought to you by Dave's Killer Bread. Slay the day with Dave's Killer Bread. Also, by Pablo's Emotional Support Ponchos. Feel like a head honcho in our poncho. Today we'll be exploring the rhetorical device of pathos, the pathetic appeals to emotion, appeals that arouse an emotional response. You know the power of this rhetorical device intuitively and by example. Remember when you were a child and you wanted to get something from your parents? Would you ask them when they were in a bad mood? Of course not, because even then you knew that a person's emotional state affected their decision making. So why not use this principle in your speaking? Put your audience in the best emotional state to get an agreeable response. And one of the best ways and easiest ways to do this is to use story. You are a natural-born storyteller. May not be good at it, but you are naturally born to do it. You have the capacity for it, just like you have the capacity for language. And just like language, story is an invaluable element of our evolution. It is one of those things that has put us at the top of the food chain and kept us there for a really long time. Well, I guess it's all relative. But for a while. And there are three main things that I want you to consider when you start to use story in your presentations. 1, accurate. Make sure they're accurate. True. Double check your sources. Because anybody can just say something. You want to make sure that you're not lying to people. That'll kill your ethos. People will cease to believe you when you speak, and that's a real problem for a public speaker. But Hank, what about all that awesome literature? Isn't it inaccurate? Isn't it a fraud, a phony, a fake? No, not really. The good stuff appeals to a truth, but I suppose a better word than accurate would be honest. Just be honest. Second, you want to make sure that it's relevant. Tie whatever this story is into your main central claim. It's not just something cool that you said. It's something that's really important to the point that I'm making. Tie the story into your central claim and make sure that your audience can very clearly see the connection. Finally, make sure that it's representative. What do I mean by this? On occasion, we have a tendency to tell extreme stories. Why? Because they garner the greatest response. Politicians know this. Newspapermen know this. This is why the human interest story is so popular. I went to the store today and bought some cheese. Garners less appeal than I went to the store today, bought some cheese, ate it, and died. Now you can still use the outlier story to gain attention, to hook people in. Just be sure to put things in context. So if I'm talking about the dangers of gaming, I can use this example of a person who gamed so long that they died. If I want to talk about drinking water, I can use the story of this person who drank so much water that they died. If I'm talking about public speaking, I can use this case study of a 19-year-old college student who went into cardiac arrest from the stress-induced anxiety of public speaking. But you'll be happy to know that this is not a representative case. In fact, it's a very, very, very rare case. So if I want to use this story to grab people's attention, do it. But then let them know that this is an outlier. This is very unlikely to happen to you. However, it does highlight some typical stresses and strains associated with public speaking. So let's take a look at these more typical examples. You can garner attention with a rare story, but don't portray it as if it were typical, if it's not. Put things in context for us. So get out there and use those stories. Put us in an emotional state that makes us want to do the thing that you want us to do.